You and Wayne were an item at one point. How serious was that?
It was pretty serious. We were engaged.
Really? Is that common knowledge?
What do you mean by common knowledge?
Like, I mean, did you guys actually announce your engagement?
Well, people knew. It wasn't kind of a big announcement. I'm not big on the announcing thing. I think privacy is the best thing.
Absolutely.
We were both just really young. And
how old were you at the time?
I probably was, I think when he was like 23. I probably was like, I don't know, maybe like 24.
Okay.
23, 24.
Early 20s.
And yeah, very early 20s. And I'm thinking like, okay, what are we doing? Like we were friends like years before this. The whole Cash Money family. And I just felt like he was somebody that was really, really my friend. Like we would talk, we would laugh, we would have fun. It was nothing flirty. It was nothing intimate. And when that happened, it was a little like, I never saw it coming. And I always knew an amazing person that he was. So it was just one of those kind of things that I don't want to lose our friendship because we're young and we just, I guess, fell in love and just, in a relationship and had fun or just having a good time. And we don't really know if, what's going on, I think. And it wasn't to go all over the world and like, oh, this is happening. I didn't think that was the move. I just thought it was beautiful and it was sacred. And people that did know, they did. And the rest of the world doesn't matter to them. Like, I didn't think that was for everybody to really care about like that. Of course people do, but,
How did he propose to you?
Oh, my God. Wow. The real, I guess, traditional get on one knee way.
Really?
Yeah.
And he had the ring? Mm-hmm. How many carats?
Stop. I'm not revealing all of this information. Just know that it was an amazing ring. And he's an amazing, amazing guy. He really is an amazing person. He's a great friend. He's an amazing guy.
So, what happened with that situation?
We were just young and I was working, he was working. I had my album coming out. We just hung out a lot. We was just like two, not kids, but like just growing into like trying to become adults. I thought I was grown. He thought he was grown, and just in this business, and we live in two separate lives, but together. It's a lot of tension. It's a lot of headache. It's a lot of struggle. It's a lot of trying to make sure the album is done at this and your team. It was just so much. And we just kind of just had different views, Wayne's a very great guy. He's very protective. And, this industry allows you to be open to so many other people and so many people constantly coming at you. And I think he's more like the protector. I want you over here and I don't want nobody else to, be in the way of that. And I think just being young and just like not having it together, not really knowing where we're going. We just going as we go.
Well, he had already been married before to Toya.
Yes.
Was he divorced or was he just separated at the time?
No, he was divorced. I didn't know he was married. Well, I didn't know he was married. When I did find out he was married, I didn't know it was Toya. I thought it was somebody else. Okay. And then when I found out it was her, it was because of his daughter. And when he would have his daughter all the time in Miami and her name would come up and I was like, so he wasn't married to her. This is who he married to, his child's mother. And then that's how I knew. And I was like, oh, okay, so I had the story all wrong. And I never asked. I knew the divorce. I knew everything, but I never kind of got into specific about it. And then that's how I kind of found out. Toya's an amazing woman. And his daughter she was really little. So I kind of got it. And I think when he got married to her, I think they were extremely young. If I'm not mistaken, like maybe
17 or 18.
16, 17, 18, something like that. Yeah. So I think that was like, just growing, like just one of those things where you're still trying to grow and figure it out.
Well, I mean, I remember I interviewed Toya not too long ago, and she was saying how when they were together, it was just a disaster in terms of other women. Like she said, her car would be sprayed up, mailboxes be smashed open,
I mean, they lived in New Orleans, I think. So New Orleans is really kind of but yeah, and then just being that young, that's like a baby. That's a teenager. Like she's a baby. He's really a baby. And as a woman, you're vulnerable, you emotional, you in love, you have a child, you want it to work, and here's this guy that's all over the place. That could be pretty
blowing up for the first time.
Yeah, that could be kind of a bit much. I would say.
Was it difficult being in engaged to Lil Wayne with all the other women that are constantly throwing themselves at him and he's on stage with his shirt off every night and just the whole image that he kind of puts out there?
No, when I was around him, it wasn't really like that. He didn't grow up a lot, but he growed up. Yeah. And one thing about him, I must say, like if he's there, he's there. Anything else that's going on outside of that, he never made me feel a way that it was. I never had an issue with another woman. I never had to say who's calling your phone. I never had those issues. Yeah. For me, it was studio, tour bus, on the road, work, back to the same routine. Studio, the same thing. And we traveled a lot. I was on tour. I was working. My album was out. He was working. And I think I met him at a time where, it was just a constant build. Like after the whole Hot Boys run, after they was together, broke up, and just him reassessing himself before Fireman came out, that whole wave. And so it was like, I'm about to put out 100 records this year and be the hottest artist in the game, and I'm gonna have 100 records on MTV. That's the moment that we were in at that moment. So it was just still though, just very young, just so much work, and him like aggressively trying to be the hottest artist in the game, and that was a different phase. So he was more mature at that point.
Well, I remember I didn't even know about it until there was like some story came out where you guys basically kissed on stage. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Was that kind of in the middle of it, the end of it, like?
That was
or after.
that was a tough moment at that point. At that point, we had already been together for I think a little over a year, and I think we kind of was like in a rough patch, and we kind of I think wasn't talking for a little while. And I remember going to just hang out to this little thing we have in Miami where there's a live band and artists come, you get on stage and you have fun and you perform and you play with the band. And I just remember being in the club with my friends, and I think the DJ said he's there. And I remember like, oh my God, let's go, I'm leaving. I don't want to see him. I don't want to run into him. And just having that moment. And I think what happened was he got on the stage and I think was performing a song, and I think he said my name. He said something to me, or I see you over there, whatever it was. The whole entire club was like looking at me, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm just like. I think I was crying. I was doing so much that night, and it was one of those things that he was like, "Come here," and I came up, and it was almost like reuniting.
Yeah,
it was like
that's what it seemed like.
It was a hug, and then it was a hug. It was a quick kiss. It was the moment of everybody knew that we were in that place, in a bad place. So for that to happen, it was like a big gasp for everybody. Like, oh my God, they're back together. They're gonna get it. Oh, he kissed. Like, it kind of got so blown up, and it wasn't like that. It was more like, I'm happy to see you, like, come here, like, you good, and hug. It was a kiss, and it was done. I was happy to see him, I think, for the most part, because I hadn't seen him in a while, and just for us not talking, and because he was my best friend, like the person that I tell everything. It was like, I'm happy right now. Like, I'm happy for this moment. I think this is a moment that we need to like enjoy, but not also publicly, kind of like, so